Hello you guys, it's once again Emilia. Welcome back to my channel. If you have not subscribed yet, please don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and comment down below what you think of this video. So first of all, I want to thank everyone who watched my last video. A lot of people commented down below and messaged me on Facebook how my video has helped them and thanking me for making the video, and you guys are very welcome. So as I promised, I would make a second video, and since we've already talked about the requirements in my last video, today we're going to be talking about how to gather all those requirements, and the most important one is the study plan. So this video is specifically about how to make a study plan. As we've discussed before in the last video, the study plan is the most important requirement and most important document in your application, and it has to be really good. And today I'm going to explain all of that. So to start off, I want to say that every case is different, every application is different, so your study plan would depend on your situation or case. So a study plan can be either 3 pages, 5 pages, or 10 pages long, or however long. It just really depends on your case, and I suggest that you just put everything about yourself in your study plan, so the consul officer doesn't have any more questions regarding yourself, and every question that the consul officer might have is already answered in your study plan. Okay, so as basis, we will be using my study plan. My study plan is 10 pages long, and it is divided in different sections. So the outline is first my personal information, choosing Canada, choosing my college, the course and program, my recent travels, my finances, when I get to Canada, my study permit obligation, and my home ties, and then my conclusion. So it's divided to 10 sections that we will be talking about. Okay, so first the format is, I'm gonna use my glasses because I can't see. So the format is just like a normal letter format. The date, like when I say date, is the day you submit the application. Must be the date on top of your letter. So mine was July 4th, 2019. And then below the date and a few spaces below, you put visa section, and then Consul General of Canada, Makati, Philippines is the address. Then you're gonna put a subject. The subject is applying for study permit, and then parentheses Canada. So you start your letter with Dear Sir, Madam, like a normal letter, and then you introduce yourself and what you're applying for. And in that sentence, you're also gonna put that you have already gotten a letter of acceptance from your school, and then you will be studying for how many years. So you have to put that first in your letter. So after that, you're gonna put the title personal explanation, and then you will have your explanation below in about 1 to 2 paragraphs. So in the personal information, you first start by stating where you live in the Philippines and your educational attainment, and then you're gonna put what you have been doing in the Philippines before you decided to take to get a study permit. And we're gonna divide this discussion to 2 parts. So because in the personal information, you're gonna be talking about how you decided to take up a certain course, we're gonna talk about how you decided to take up a certain course related to your field that you started in the Philippines, and we're gonna talk about how you decided to take a course that's not related to the field that you have in the Philippines. Okay, so first, if you decide to take up a course related to your field, then that would be much easier, because you can explain there what you've been doing related to that field, your goals, and why you must absolutely have to take that course in Canada in order for you to have a future in that field here in the Philippines. So that's what you're going to explain in the personal information. For example, you're a graduate of political science like me, and then you started a field in the government, and then you have decided to take up this course in order for you to have a better job in the government in the Philippines or something like that. So it's much easier because you can organize that in, like for me, for example, I took up political science, then I took up 2 years of law school, and then I became and worked as a paralegal. And I decided to take up a course in the paralegal in Canada, because there's not really a course for a paralegal in the Philippines, only law school, and it doesn't really explain the techniques and skills that you need to be a good paralegal, and only talks about how to become a lawyer. So in that field, I was able to explain really thoroughly why I needed to take that course in Canada, how I can apply that, apply what I learned in that course in my career here in the Philippines. Okay, so you must always state that you will have a career in the Philippines, or your future plans will be in the Philippines after you study. Okay, so for those who are taking a course not related to the career you have or what you've studied here in the Philippines, you just have to be really honest and state why you want to take up that course. Maybe you want to go on a different path in life, but that path has to be in the Philippines. So what you really just need to state is why you really need to take up that course, and how can you apply what you've learned in that course for a future career here in the Philippines. Okay, there must be some intention to come back to the Philippines. It has to all add up to coming back to the Philippines to start a career here in the Philippines in that field. Okay, so that's the difference between taking up a course that's related to your field and taking another course that's not related to your field. In both situations, you must always put that you will apply what you've learned in that course to have a future career here in the Philippines. Okay, I know all of us would want our careers to start in Canada, or continue our careers in Canada and live a life in Canada, and most of our intentions are that. But in the study plan, please put an intention to come back to the Philippines, study in Canada, and only study in Canada, and will come back to your home country after your studies. That's the main point of a study plan. That's the main idea that you need to think about before you make your study plan. And when you make your study plan, always put that in your head, that everything you state in the study plan would add up to the main idea that you are still coming back to the Philippines after your study. Okay, so that's what you put in your personal information. So I'm gonna read a little bit about my personal information just to give you guys ideas of how you can state that. So I said that I am from Toledo City, Cebu, and then I finished elementary school and blah blah blah, and I finished my high school and this school, and then I took up political science in University in San Carlos, and then graduated in the year 2016. I took up 2 years of law school, and after I took up 2 years of law school, I worked as a paralegal at Mancal Law Office. And then when I worked as a paralegal, I realized that I need to know more about being a paralegal, and so I chose to take a course in Canada, because in the Philippines, law school doesn't really tackle techniques and skills to be a paralegal, only tackles about the laws of the Philippines and all of that. So I chose to obtain a diploma, and because it can help me get a better job as a paralegal here in the Philippines, and it will be good on my resume to have this experience. It's also good for me as a young adult and all that. That's what I put in my personal information, and that's what you should put also in your personal information. Okay, so the next section is choosing Canada. So in this section, you can't just put like, I choose Canada because it's a really nice country, it's beautiful, it has good pay, blah blah blah. That's not enough to convince the consul officer that you are really choosing Canada, because there are other countries that are the same as Canada, beautiful, pays good, and gives quality education. You must compare Canada to other countries like the US, the UK, or Australia. Why didn't you choose US? Why didn't you choose Australia? Why did you choose Canada? So what's so good about Canada? And this is where you really put specific reasons why you choose Canada. Like me, I stated that I'm gonna be alone, and as an international student, it's important to be safe, and Canada has a low crime rate, and so it will be comfortable for me to stay in Canada on my own, since I know I will be safe and the people are nice there. And I also stated and put some references that Canada has always been number one in the quality of life. So I also stated that there, and you should put other reasons why Canada is better than the other countries. Just don't put that's gonna misinterpret the consul officer that you're choosing Canada because it gives better chances of permanent residency. Just don't really put that on there, because that will doubt the consul officer if you're really after the study or you're after the permanent residency. Okay, so just put why you choose Canada, and make sure that it does not interpret of you staying there after your studies. Okay, so that's what you put in choosing Canada. And since I am an environmentalist, I also put that Canada supports those kinds of advocacies and often implement new environmental laws to address those issues. So that's what I put in the section of why I chose Canada. The next one is choosing your college. So this is the same as choosing Canada. You must make good differences and comparisons of other colleges and why you really chose that college and what's the benefits of that college. You just have to put it all there. And what's the perks of taking that course in that college? Is there a certain subject that you want to take up that only that school offers? Okay, so that's what you need to put in your choosing college. Don't say like, I chose this college because I didn't get an LOA from another college that I wanted. No. State reasons why that college is a good college and that's good for your international studies. Okay, so that's what you need to put in choosing your college. The next section is courses and programs. So this is where you're gonna put the subjects that you're gonna take up for all the semesters in your college, and you're gonna put it in a table, and below the table you're gonna explain why you need to choose those subjects. And it's important if you compare like if the subjects are available here in the Philippines or not, and you're gonna explain also how you can apply that subject in your future career. Why do you need to learn that subject? How will that help you in your career in the Philippines? So that's where you really need to be specific and really give the idea that she really does need to take up this college in order for her to have a good job in the Philippines, or in order for her to help her with her career in the Philippines. So I think that's where my study plan was really good. I explained the subjects I didn't learn from my college. I stated there, and I stated how that would help me in my career in the Philippines. Okay, so always remember that everything must add up to your career in the Philippines and coming back in the Philippines, and how the course will help you in your future career in the Philippines. Okay, so that's what you need to put in the courses and program modules. You don't have to put in a table, but putting in a table just makes it more organized. You put semester 1 and then the subjects you will take in that semester, and then semester 2 and the subjects you will take in that semester. Okay. So the next section is the finances. So in the finances, we're also gonna break the discussion down in two parts: your finances when you're gonna be going there alone with no accommodation, and your finances when people that are Canadian citizens are sponsoring you. Okay, so if you're independent like me, in the finances, just state who's your sponsors and who's paying for your stay in Canada, and state like you were fortunate that this person has decided to sponsor your stay in Canada because they support the idea that you're gonna take up this course in Canada, and explain how and why she can support you, and how she can support you. What's her job? What's her? Does she have a business? And what specific expenses is she gonna support you? And is she gonna support in all of it, like your school, your your rent, and other expenses in your when you're staying in Canada? So that's all you really need to put. If you have multiple sponsors, then I suggest that you put like each of their contribution to your study. So don't just say that all of them will just help out. Like explain really, like your mom is going to be paying for the tuition, and your uncle has has promised to pay for your expenses, and your aunt decided to pay for your rent, like that. Be really specific so that they'll know like how you guys will manage the money that you have for your stay in Canada. Okay, so that's what you put in the finances. If your sponsor is a Canadian citizen, or it's your family, like your parents and your siblings, that are already in Canada, I suggest to put in a way that you're not really dependent on them, because if the consular officer would interpret it as you being dependent on them, then they would be doubtful if you're really a genuine student, or you're just using the study permit to get to Canada and then you're not really gonna study there. So just be careful how you're gonna state, like if a Canadian citizen or a PR holder is sponsoring your stay, just state like your agreement that after they will sponsor you in your stay and in your school in Canada, then you all agreed that you are still gonna come back to the Philippines after your study. So it has to really add up to coming back to the Philippines and returning to the Philippines, because that's what the main idea of the study plan is, for the consul officer to know that you're still coming back to the Philippines after your study. Okay, even though you're not, even though we're gonna get a PGWP and we're gonna get a permanent residency, you still absolutely need to state it in your study plan that you are coming back after your study. Okay, so that's what you put in your finances. Be careful if you have sponsors that are in Canada. Be careful how you state it. Make sure it doesn't give any idea of you not coming back to the Philippines. Okay, so that is your finances. The next thing is your recent travel. So in my situation, I was denied a tourist visa, and I also overstayed in the USA in a K1 visa. So in your study plan, it is important to always be positive and not negative. Don't say like, oh, I didn't get a tourist visa, and don't make your life really negative. Okay, be positive about everything that's happened to you, because that's the consul officer would feel like if you're really negative and you're just going to Canada because your life is not going well here in the Philippines, then they might think that you would rather have a life in Canada and not in the Philippines, so you're gonna stay there and not come back. So don't be negative in your study plan. Be positive in everything you state. Okay, so if you've overstayed, or if something happened to you, then just put it in a positive way and don't make it really directly unfortunate or something like that. So I stated in my recent travels that I did stay in the US, but I didn't directly say that I overstayed. And I stated that I was denied a US visa, but I added something positive to it so that it will not shine a light on the whole denied visa thing. So how I stated my stay in the US, I said, I have traveled to different countries before. When I was 6 years old, my mother married an American citizen. He invited us with him to go to the United States of America. My mom and I traveled there when I was 9 years old, and we used a K1 and K2 visa. They were married on December 11, 2002, but unfortunately they got annulled in 2004. So I attached their marriage certificate with the letter of annulment, noted that the marriage is null and void. So everything I stated there was true. I just didn't say that overstayed in the USA. I just didn't state that. But what I stated was true, because he did invite us to go to the United States with him. My mom did come home before her visa expired, and I did stay with my stepdad until we came back to the Philippines to settle down. So it's all true, and they are still gonna find that out anyway, that I overstayed, because I did state in my educational attainment that my school was an American school. So, and US and Canada are sisters, so everything I did in the US regarding immigration and stuff, then Canada would also know that. So it's important. I also stated that, and I stated my denial tourist visa. So just be positive and everything, and don't directly state that you overstayed. You can be honest about it, but don't directly state. So the next one is when I get to Canada. In this part, you're gonna talk about what you're gonna do once you get to Canada, where you're gonna stay, and yeah, all of that. So it's all, this discussion is also divided in two, which is what you're gonna put if you're going there alone, and what you're gonna put if you have accommodation there already, like you have friends and relatives there that's gonna get you from the airport, and you're gonna stay at their home. So what I put is, if I was given an opportunity to get a study permit, then I will finalize my accommodation in Canada. And then I put a list of rooms that I've already researched and contacted as my possible accommodation. So I put 3. I put the address and how many minutes it is away from my college, and then I put the contact details of the landlord or the owner of that place. So I put that in a table also, so that the consul officer would not be worried about me that, oh, she's gonna be going alone, where is she gonna go, she might be homeless, and all of that. So I stated that already there for them, so that they will not be worried about that, and they will not ask any questions about regarding my place to stay. And I also did a little explanation on why I wanted to stay in this particular area. So that's what I put. If you are gonna be staying with a relative, or your relative is gonna be getting you from the airport, then I suggest, like I said, don't be independent on them. You can state that they are they want to help you, so they want you to stay in their place, but other expenses will still be paid by you. So but if you're gonna be living with your family and like your parents, and they're gonna pay for all of your expenses, just really state, and as I said before, just really put the intention or your agreement that after your study that you're still gonna come back to the Philippines. Okay, that is just the most important thing. No matter what the circumstance is, it must always add up to you coming back to the Philippines, even though your parents are already in Canada and already Canadian citizens or PR holders. Then please still put your intentions to come back to the Philippines, because if you don't, and you will be staying with your parents or your relatives and you have no expenses at all, then that would be really crucial, and it will make your application really doubtful if you're a genuine student. Okay, so please, and everything you put in your study plan, put the fact that you are coming back to the Philippines after your study in Canada. Okay. And also, for those going there alone, if you have friends that you know are already in Canada and they plan to help you and see you and be your ride, I suggest don't put that there, that you have friends or family friends that will help you, because if you are going to be staying on your own, then that would be irrelevant already. The next one is the study permit obligation. So the consul officer would really want to know that you know what you're doing as an international student, and you know the policies of a study permit. Okay, so you put there that as an international student, you're responsible to obey the laws of Canada, that you're responsible for your study activities, or your getting your schedules, getting your classes, getting enrolled, paying your tuition, getting your school supplies, that you are aware of those responsibilities, and you are aware of the policies of the study permit, that you only allowed to work 20 hours per week, and all of that. They need to know that you know that stuff. So I suggest you really do need to know that stuff. So study that. It's in the cic.gc.ca website. Just read about that and put it in an essay using your own words. Okay, so that is the study permit application section. The next one is your home ties section. So this is also where your intention to come back to the Philippines is emphasized. So state there that your family or your job or the career that you want is here in the Philippines. That after your study, you will apply what you learn for a life here in the Philippines. That you don't need to stay for a long time in Canada because either your family is here or your work is here or the future you want is here in the Philippines. You must stay. Please give some credit to the Philippines and put in your study plan that you are planning to come back to the Philippines, because that is what the consul officer just really wants to know, is that you genuinely want to come back to the Philippines and that you're only going to Canada to study. Okay, so put there, if you have a car, that's good. If you already have a house, better. So put your home ties there and all of the reasons why you must absolutely need to come back to the Philippines after your study. So that's what you put in your home ties. The next one is your conclusion, and this is where you get all dramatic and say like, I have always had my life plan, and I want this to be part of my life. This could really help me in my future plans here in the Philippines. And then I put there, not just academic wise, this experience will also improve my personal growth. As a young adult, these experiences are really influential in the career path I will take. If I were given this opportunity, it will contribute to what I become in the future here in the Philippines. So I put there, and since this was like in the first weeks of July, I said, thank you so much in advance for your kind consideration. Happy Canada Day. Sincerely, blah, blah, Samantha, blah, blah, blah. So that's what I put in my conclusion. And then I did an expenses/fund summary. So I put accommodation for 1 year is 10,000 Canadian dollars, sponsored by blah blah blah. Total tuition fee for a year is blah blah blah, funded by blah blah blah. I put that on there, and then I put a list of enclosures and documents attached with this application, with this study plan, because everything you state in your study plan, you must provide proof. Okay, so I put the letter of acceptance and the paid invoices, which is the 2,300 Canadian dollars that you pay for your school, and then your certificate of employment if you have one, and I put my 2 IDs from my 2 years of law school just to let them know that I did take up law school. And then I put my refusal letter of my US tourist visa. I put passport stamps from my travel history, and then I put my civil service eligibility certificate, because I stated in my study plan that I did acquire my civil service eligibility, and that's also a plus for me because they will think that I could still get a job here in the Philippines. So I put that on there, and then I put the marriage certificate of my parents and the annulment declaration, and then I put my old passport, which I had my K2 visa, USA K2 visa, and then I put some other stuff like condominium unit that my grandma has given me, deed of absolute sale that my mom made. She sold a property, and then with that money she helped pay for my tuition. And then I put other stuff like even declaration of real property from your grandparents are also good because you are gonna inherit those properties. So those can be considered home ties, but not really strong home ties. So I put that on there, and along with your study plan, you are gonna attach your diploma, your transcript of records. This is your IELTS results, your NBI clearance, your medical certificate. This is where also you attach your requirements. Okay, so that's how you make a study plan. So all in all, with all the attachments, that's 51 pages that you need to scan and then put in order. The first is always the study plan, then put it in order, and then put it into one PDF file and then compress it. Okay, so it will not be more than 4 MB. Okay, so that is how you make a study plan, you guys. So I think that's it for this video. I hope I've helped you guys made your study plan. I know it's really complicated because a lot of people have different cases, and I know you still have a lot more questions. If you have any, please ask me on my Instagram account. It is I'm gonna put that down below because that is where I usually answer questions in my Instagram. So please add me on Instagram, and yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I know you guys have been asking me how I made my study plan, and this is it. So I hope you guys learned something from this video today. My next video I would talk about different colleges in different states, and I'm gonna be talking about how you can get your letter of acceptance, okay? Because that is one of the requirements. So I hope you guys get started on your study plan as early as now so you can revise, and I would also love to help you guys revise your study plans. I think this is it for the video, and thank you guys so much for watching. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Comment down below, and please share these to your friends who are also curious about doing a DIY study permit to Canada. Thank you guys so much for all your support, and I'll see you guys soon.